February 13th, 2025. Welcome to the Moale River School District Business Meeting, Thursday, February 13th, 2025. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Chris. I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance
to
to
the
the
flag
flag
of
of
the
the United
United
States
States
of
of
America
America
and
and
to
to
the
the
to the
republic
republic
which
for
it
which it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
God,
under
under God,
God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty
and
and
justice for all.
justice for all.
That's always fun. Let's see everybody. do
The
it.
echo.
Okay. Do we have any public? I'm sorry. First off, we have, oh no, the special presentation is being rescheduled, correct? Okay. Do we know when? Just in case anybody's wondering.
Yeah, it'll be at our next business meeting in March.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And do we have any public comment, Lori?
Let me double check. As long as nobody's got a hand raised, does not look like it. Nope, we're good.
Thank you. Are there any changes that need to be considered to the agenda tonight? Hearing none, moving on. And we don't have Madison here with us. Did she send anything to?
She did, and I will share my screen. She sent you all a video, and she has, because I gotta love these kids and their technology. Let me pull that up really quick.
Linda's trying to join on her phone now, she says. How sweet of Madison to make us a video.
Yes, she got called into work, she said, because she could walk to work and nobody else could make it. So she
Oh, wow.
apologized for not being able to make it, but she has a video.
No sound.
Can you hear now?
No.
No, still no sound? Hmm. I'm afraid if I mute mine, it's not going to. Chris, are you listening?
If you go back
I
to share,
am. It
if you go back to
sometimes
share
depends
screen,
on the video and whether or
Okay.
not Zoom will take the video audio from it.
if you go down
Mm.
back to the share screen button, Lori,
Mm-hmm.
then on the far right hand side where you're choosing the screens, there's an option to share sound you can check. And then reshare the video.
On the right?
Yeah, so if you stop share
Oh, stop share. Okay.
and then go back to share again,
Mm-hmm.
when it pops up on the far right, it allows you to check a box that says share sound.
Ah. It actually is grayed out and won't let me.
Oh,
Do you want to tell us the gist of it? Did you listen to it? Is it just a
No,
show?
I didn't actually. I
No.
wanted to listen to it with you all, but
Okay.
I will send it to you guys. And you
Okay.
can listen to it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Up next, we have action items. First up is consent agenda that includes our January meeting minutes, and the personnel report.
Madam Chair, I
Yes.
move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Okay, all in favor to approve the consent agenda, raise your right hand. Okay. Passes. Next up is recommendation for approval, the E-rate Category 2 proposal, which we had heard about from Chris last time.
I've
That
got
one
something
got-
different on my agenda.
Yeah, that one got removed.
Oh, sorry.
Nope,
I
that's
printed
okay.
I printed out the agenda you sent me yesterday.
That's
Okay,
okay.
sorry, I will look at this one now. Recommendation for approval for budget committee vacancies. We have 2 vacancies available.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to approve the Budget Committee vacancy statement as presented.
Okay, moved. Do I have a
Second.
second? Moved and seconded. Anybody have any questions or comments on that? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the budget committee vacancies, raise your right hand. Okay, all in favor? Okay, let me look at this one. Okay, next up we have recommendation to approve the MHS Colton High School Cooperative Agreement that we also discussed in our previous meeting about them joining our teams in, I think it was just track and field. Am I correct on that?
That is correct. And our athletic director, Mr. Lord, is available to answer questions if the board has any on this item.
Anybody have questions?
I do. Because I wasn't at the last meeting due to circumstances, I have no idea what was the discussion or anything. So if you want to give me a synopsis.
Sure. So Colton doesn't have enough people signed up for track and field, and there's an opportunity to have this cooperative agreement where they can come and participate in events at Molalla High School. Or I guess with our team, not necessarily just at Molalla High School. But if they place as a team, it goes under Molalla. But if they place, or no, I'm sorry, I have that wrong. If they place as an individual, I think it's considered under Molalla.
Yeah, correct. So basically, due to the lack of facilities at Colton and just the coaching at the lack of coach at Colton, they need a place to compete, and so we're offering our track team for them to compete as a co-op for us this year. So I think as of right now, it looks like maybe 6 to 8 track and field athletes will be part of our Molalla. And essentially, they will be competing under Molalla for the entire spring.
And
Good
we had discussed who would pay for, uniforms and such. And I think Tony had sent out an email about that.
Right. There isn't much. I can say the cost isn't exorbitant with that. The pay to play fee will help out on our side with the track and field program. But having 6 to 8 track and field participants, we have plenty of supplies and uniforms to take care of those athletes.
Okay. Does that answer all your questions, Terry?
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead, Mark.
I have one follow-up. I don't recall if this was discussed before, but I assume that there's no impact to liability. In other words, PACE would be our coverage, whether they're a Molalla or Colton student. Is that a fair statement?
I can respond to that. The answer is yes. Colton would carry some liability because they are Colton students, as would we. But PACE will cover them as part of our membership in OSBA PACE.
No.
Let me back that up. It's not that they're individually covered for like injuries. That's not the coverage. The coverage is in terms of school district liability, right? Thanks for letting me clarify.
Okay. Thank you, Mike and Tony, for answering questions. Does anybody
Madam
else
Chair?
have questions about that?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move that we approve the cooperative agreement between Molalla School District and the Colton School District, allowing Colton to compete as part of our program.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Sorry, Craig, I didn't see your hand up there.
That's okay. It was
Not
just to
used
make
to
a
the
motion.
Zoom. Okay. All in favor
Yeah,
to,
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I just wanted to make one comment, if I could.
sure.
Yeah, so it was interesting for me to note at the bottom of the cooperative agreement, it said that part of the goal of the OSA Executive Board in approving these agreements is to try and get small school districts to combine with one another rather than to have a small school district combine with a larger school district. So I'm hoping that that won't pose a problem because obviously we're a larger school district than Colton, and I believe we also compete at a higher level. But despite that fact, I don't, that doesn't adversely affect us or anything. I just thought it was interesting to note that.
Mhm.
Anyway, that was it.
Okay. If there's no other questions, it's been moved and seconded. So all in favor to approve the MHS Colton High School Cooperative Agreement as presented, raise your right hand. Okay, all in favor? Thank you. All right, next up we have information and discussion. And the first topic is communications update, and Miss Watson, if she's here, will update us on that.
Yep, I'm just switching everybody around here, so let me pull her up.
While you're doing that, I would like to praise her for the great job she's doing in our communications department and keeping everybody updated, especially online. I know there's lots of comments and questions, and she's always there to answer. So we appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. Well, good evening. I'm happy to be here. I really enjoy your meetings and I enjoy this opportunity very much. I am sorry I have not given you a written report this month, but just going over what has happened. We did the award celebration for Principal Dalton, and we're working on his national application, which is due March 1st. And we did the design open house at Malala River Middle this Tuesday. And we're doing we did the bond oversight committee the week before that. And so it's been a very productive month, but I don't have a written report for you. A lot of snow notifications. We also have launched rooms at the high school. They're our pilot site for that, and that's a two-way communication tool between staff and parents or staff and students. So they were able to sign up for that at parent-teacher conferences last week. And is assuming that all continues on in the trajectory, we would be looking to add Malala River Middle School next, and then we would do all of the elementaries. So we do believe we're on track to finish that by the end of this school year. And I
Andrea,
feel like I'm forgetting something.
I'm
but
sorry to interrupt. Can you
yeah,
expand on that? Can you say that again? What
sure.
is it? Two-way communication between parents and staff for what purpose?
The purpose of it is to create archive of all the communication between our employees and our students, or employees and our staff. So this is a tool that's built into our website and alert system. It is mobile based. You can use it on a computer, but unlike using your own phone or setting up your own lists, like Coach Nelzine, if she wanted to contact her players, she would now have a system with all those team names and numbers, the guardians, all in one secure location, so that if there ever is a problem or somebody says they were or weren't told, or it's really, it's a risk management, but also it's a convenient tool, so that it's phone based more than it is computer based. So we continue to see a need. Students have questions about their assignments. Parents have questions about their assignments, and this enables them, like if they've assigned a group project, the instructor can make a group of students that's working. They can provide instructions to the whole class or to individual groups, and all of that is archived, and the administration principals can see what the communication content was between the parties.
Very good. Thank you.
Yes.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it is good. And we continue to learn the new Aptitude Suite. But it is performing, we believe, better by quite a bit and has a lot more capabilities. We're just trying to be very systematic in making sure that those launches are successful and that staff have support, parents have support so that they don't become frustrated and abandon the tool.
Good.
And I'm happy to have any other questions, but that would conclude my report this evening.
Sounds like that one covers all the bases, that room app that you're just talking about.
Yeah,
Security,
we're very,
everything.
yeah. And again, we do continue to believe that Apogee is a great provider for communication tools. They are expanding. They had a meeting with us at the end of the year that showed us sort of the roadmap. There's going to be additional features, and they have been very responsive when Chris and I have suggestions of things that we believe could work better or be improved. They are very receptive and they're putting those on the schedule. So, all of these tools, they are changing rapidly. But I do think that this one is going well for us. We're just being very systematic, trying to make sure that all the staff get training and support, and we don't just leave anybody out there, floundering and upset that it's not working the way they'd like it to. And having Chris on board with the IT capacity, we're able to automate, so we have lists in there now that are automatically updating for our staff, for our students. We're working out those that need to have some minor adjustments, but last week we really worked the list of all the failed notifications that went to our employees. So I just think we basically are driving now. We're not relying on a third party to push out our own messaging. So that's a big improvement in my mind. It's where we want to be. They're their kids. We have them in our care, and we want to be the ones that communicate about our systems.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else have questions for Andrea? Nope. All good. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, I should look at the other agenda here. Okay, next up we have facilities and deferred maintenance report with Mr. Tiano. Looks like they've been busy in that department. I mean, always busy, but I saw the report. There's quite a few things that they've been doing.
Tony will be joining us here in a second. Here we go, Tone.
All right, sorry about that.
So,
Good evening, directors. Yeah, just a couple things on the agenda here that I have. Of course, I'd like to just touch on inclement weather in our building. Sorry, it's so dark. I don't know why. I think I need to
Hi.
update my computer. But yeah, all of our heat in our buildings are running as well as planned. A little update on boiler one at the middle school. We got that gas valve installed, so both boilers at the middle school are functioning as well as they can. Had our custodians make sure they had all their ice melt and everything for walkways and for safety and hose bibs, kind of like I touched on last month. So our preventive maintenance is definitely helping. One thing I forgot to mention to you last meeting about the Mulino seismic grant that we applied for, we will know that result for that $2 million in May. So that was something I forgot to mention. So cross our fingers in May we get that grant. So but other than that, yeah, just fighting our aged equipment like we always do, and we're on top of it. So I'm just
Very
open to questions.
thank you. And you got that extra valve too, right? You said
We
you had
did.
ordered two.
Actually, we haven't got that arrived yet, but it's
okay.
on order. So yeah. And we've got planned this summer for putting a new burner up at Clark's boiler. It looks like we're going to have to replace the boiler at Mulino finally. So we've got some big ticket items coming our way. So
Did you have a question, Mark?
Just a quick question for either Tony or Tony. In terms of actual spend to budget on facilities, are we tracking in the green category, yellow, red, or is this about what we'd expect at this point in the school year?
yeah, I would say we're definitely in the green. Like I said, we still have a roof replacement we're going to do this spring. So like I don't ever put all my eggs in one basket, but we definitely at the high school are in the black, I would say. We're spending we did a lot of upgrades to our cooling tower, our boilers this summer. There's been a lot of unexpected expenditures at the high school with our units. So the high school budget right now is pretty upside down when it comes to facilities.
Thank you, Tony.
Yep.
Anybody else have any questions for Tony? Think you're good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Okay, next up we have financial review with Mr. Campbell. Hello.
Good evening, Chairman Neal and the members of the board. So to touch on Tony's comment about the high school, yes, we are overspend a little bit in the high school, but overall, facilities is doing very well. Happy with their decisions that they make, and of course, I'm watching expenses like a hawk this time of year. So we're keeping him under control as best we can. But some things are necessary. The good thing is Tony and I communicate a lot, so I think that's a positive thing. For the finance update, I just wanted to share that the preparation of the 25-26 budget is underway. The finance office is hard at work as we ramp up budget season. I feel like we're doing a really good job. Of course, going into my first budget season, paying a little bit closer attention to stuff I think is very important. There's no update on the state school fund yet. We are expecting an ODE to release an updated estimate early to mid-March. We're hopeful. It may arrive by the end of February, but we'll be conservative on that. I do have an update to share on our news PERS rates. I have completed the analysis of the impact of the PERS employer rate for 25-26. The financial impact to our budget for the next fiscal year is in the range of $800,000 to $1 million. The result of the analysis indicated that we need to have a PERS employer contribution rate of around 5%, which is applied to all payroll. This rate will remain at this level for the next biennium and will likely increase in the next biennium. It is worth noting that our 2002-2003 PERS bonds side accounts have provided an offset to this rate in the past, which is why the rate has been 0. And you may ask why the PERS rate increase. And I'm definitely not a PERS expert. I think that every hour I spend on a webinar, I feel a little bit better. But just to give you, I would consider this my elevator speech. It is worth noting that more details will be shared in the budget development agenda item planned for the March business meeting. But to give you a few tidbits on why the PERS rate is impacting us. So the PERS investment earnings underperformed in the 22-23 fiscal year, where their actual rate was much lower than their expected rate. That, in combination with significant increases in payroll expenses across Oregon, impacted that rate. And it's also worth noting that our current rates are based on actuarial data as of 12/31/2023. The 2027 to 2029 biennium will see another increase in the PERS contribution rate. So we will plan ahead with a strategic reserve to keep the district in a good financial position. In addition, our PERS bond side accounts will expire at the end of December 2027. So we will lose the side account credit, and the new rate starting in January of 2028 will be in the neighborhood of about 30%. I think the important takeaway for tonight is that we are aware of the increases headed our way, and we will take the proper steps to help mitigate the impact. So unfortunately, this is not going to be the last time you hear from me on PERS, but I think it'll be a hot topic for many years to come. And it's not just our district that's affected, it's all districts. So I'm happy to answer any questions tonight or any questions you have after. You can hand off to Lori and I'll be sure to get them answered for you.
Go ahead, Mark.
Andy, I'm not sure if you can answer this, but there are some people that when they look at PERS
Mhm.
will claim that the fund is underfunded by a whopping amount.
It is.
So is that a potential pothole that's in front of all school districts? Do you see, in other words, do you see these PERS increases escalating on school districts?
I do. I think that for the districts that have side accounts, the rate credit that we've enjoyed since 2002, 2003, has shielded us from the big increases in PERS. With the side accounts expiring, there is an option to do another round of PERS bonds, which again can shield us from the 30% PERS rate. That's something that the district will definitely explore. Piper Sandler gives really good updates on that. They won't recommend it if the market isn't in the right position. We don't want to take a position like the school districts did in 2007, where they took out PERS bonds and then the market tanked in 2008, and they lost a ton of their value. So that's again something that we'll watch.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other than, I know that some districts are laying or planning to lay teachers off or staff, I guess. Other than layoffs, is there any other solution that, I mean, maybe other than the PERS bonds that you're talking about, that other districts are coming up with any like creative, plans that you see?
Yeah, I'm not maybe not creative plans, but getting the districts a little bit more lean. Attrition, watching expenses, not overspending, being on top of your budget, conservative. Having a reserve is very important. And I think that Malala has been very conservative in the past budget-wise, and we're going to continue that. And I think having a prudent reserve to protect us from the big swings in PERS for 27, 28 is going to be something that we'll need to pursue.
Anybody else have questions? Comments? Thank you, Andy.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Did you want to speak to the other report, or does anybody have questions on the finance report itself? Okay, hearing none, we'll move along. Teaching and learning, curriculum instruction and assessment with Miss Jackson. Losing my voice, apologies.
Good evening, Chair McNeil and directors. You have my report for the month, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. However, I would like to direct your attention to the first thing that's on my report, and that is I'd like to highlight the K through 12 science adoption, curriculum adoption that is happening. So we follow a specific process, which starts with an assembly of the adoption committee. And so we have teachers from all of the different levels, including a couple of administrators. We've met a couple of times looking and reviewing at the science state standards, district data, and then also taking a survey and gathering some information about science from students as well as our staff members that teach science. So presently, the team is looking at a variety of different curriculums, and they have a rubric and standards and looking at the criteria to kind of narrow it down. And also we have several teachers that are interested in, once the curriculum is narrowed down, to kind of pilot a couple of lessons, because it's one thing to actually look at a curriculum, but another to actually use it right in the classroom. So that's what's happening right now. And in the next couple of months, the team will be narrowing down the curriculum to a few choices. The public will have the opportunity to look at those choices in a public forum for 2 weeks is the standard to have them look and have input on the curriculum. The committee will then reconvene and consider the public input and then make a final decision. And so we're hoping in May to present that final decision of curriculum, and in June seek approval from the board for implementation in the fall. So just kind of wanted to give you an overview of what's happening with that adoption process. Be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Linda?
Yeah, I have a question. Are we going to go ahead and put the textbooks for the parents to review in the public library so they have access to it?
Absolutely.
I just want to make sure. Oh,
yes.
good.
Yes.
All right. Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right. I appreciate it.
Does the committee feel that there's a wide range that they have to choose from, or are they, I guess, satisfied with the choices that they have, or is it kind of limited?
Actually, they're very excited about the choices that they have. If you remember, we asked for to delay the process for a year so that more curriculum would be available. And that is the case. There's a lot to choose from. And I know the team started to look at the curriculum this past week. And so there's a lot to choose from, but they're very enthusiastic about what they've been looking at.
Just another question.
You bet.
Will they have physics introduced at all, or, we're going to have chemistry or microbiology? What's available?
Right. So it's my understanding that they are looking at curriculum that biology, chemistry, what you've talked about. The high school team is looking at curriculum that will provide updated materials on all of those that you just mentioned.
That's fantastic. Okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
I don't have any other. You're going to talk about professional development next?
Actually, if you had questions about that.
Anybody have questions about professional development or the early literacy high dosage tutoring?
Oh yeah, the early literacy. Okay, can we eventually put tutoring for like middle school too? Because some of those students struggle and they might really benefit from some tutoring, and some kids in high school might be struggling with their science or their mathematics, and they might need some tutoring there. And I was just wondering if there's that possibility to offer that kind of thing for the middle school and for maybe the high school, not as much as elementary, but at least have it available.
So this past year, we were granted the early literacy grant. And so high dosage tutoring is kind of a cornerstone of that grant. And it's early literacy, meaning that grant funds can only be used for K through 5.
Yeah.
But we are always open to possibilities of trying to, support our students at all levels. But it's the high dosage tutoring is specific to our elementary.
Is there a possibility of creating a program where students who do very well, like in their chemistry or mathematics, that they can become like tutors after school or whatever to those that would like to have some tutoring? I remember a school that helped us out with that. I was helping some kid with their problems with chemistry. But then I had problems with calculus, so I was being tutored by another student. So it really worked out well.
That's great when you can have mentors, tutors, right, to help you with things. You know what? I am aware of something at the high school with one of the subjects that they're doing, but I'm not aware at the middle or for other subjects at the high school. But that's not to say it's not happening.
Okay.
So I can check in with the principals to see if something like that already exists.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. All right.
Anybody else? Questions? Nope. Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
Okay, thanks.
Good.
Keep warm and safe.
Thank
you as
you.
well.
You too. Okay. Next up, we have Student Services with Dr. Chobe.
There I am.
There you are.
Good evening, directors. You have my report in front of you. I don't have anything specific to highlight this month, but if you have any questions, have at it.
I just had the one. So when you're talking about the number of students, we have a total of 21 students, 10 in LEAP, 1 in Serendipity, and 10 in Heron Creek. I'm sorry. That's
Yes.
it, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All
Yep,
right.
those
And
are
it looks
all
like
of our outside placements. Yes.
great. Okay, and it looks like you only need middle school sped and 2 elementary sped. Okay, and that's it.
Yes, for hiring. Yes,
Yeah.
we have a few classified positions that we're looking for. Correct.
You're doing a lot better than it's been before. I remember you had trouble getting people.
Thank you. I think we have done a better job staying fully staffed this year.
Yeah, it's great. Okay, great job.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I might have some questions for you later. I noticed I was just reading the legislative update. Excuse me. And it sounds like there's some upcoming hearings about special education. So might have questions later on unless you have some comments on that.
I don't necessarily have comments on it, but I do think that there are quite a few bills floating around that will have should they pass, will have an impact to special education.
Financially impact?
I mean, they could. We'll see. And it seems like some of the bills are still being written. Like we don't necessarily know every single thing that's coming toward us. So I don't know what's going to stick.
Okay.
Maybe not financial, but it'll keep me busy. How's that?
Okay.
Well, keep us posted.
Oh, Tony's got his hand up.
Hi, Tony.
Just to add to that, the superintendents in the county meet monthly, and in our conversations yesterday, just some reminders around some advocacy around fully funding high-cost disabilities in the state. I don't know the exact legislative language, but that is a priority from the Confederation of Oregon School Administrators perspective. That's the piece that really is difficult for school districts to project how many students might move into their district and have significant price tags to provide for their free and appropriate public education. So I know that that's one, but I know that Robin will be watching those, and as they get closer to the finish line, I think the last day to submit proposed legislation is next Friday. And I've heard that at this point there are more bills introduced in this full legislative session than have been in a long time, like over 2,000 bills currently. And very few of them will have committee hearings and make it to the floor, but a lot of consideration, and many of them, you're right, Chair McNeil, are focused on education.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else?
Oh,
No. Looks like you're good. Thank you so much.
thanks.
Okay. Up next, we have a turf update, and Tony had included a cover sheet. Tony, you want to take this? Or you want me to kind of?
You bet. I'll just I'll follow your lead, Chair McNeil. That'd be terrific. I've talked about the agenda item here tonight, and I've sent some information out to board members. I did get a text message a minute ago telling me that my microphone wasn't picking up my voice very well. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Hear you great. Yes.
Okay. Get a little closer to the screen here. Sorry, look at my goofy mug a little closer to the screen. But jump. Yeah, I'll be glad to follow your lead, Chair McNeil.
Okay, I know We have had discussions about turf in the past, and if you read the cover sheet, it just kind of Tony spelled out exactly, the timeline of different decisions and events that have happened. And there have been a few changes as far as the boosters and whatnot. And he has brought it to our attention that there may not be as much support as there was going to be originally. But I think he's thinking outside the box and trying to make this happen, since the district has put some skin in the game. So I'll let you take it from there, Tony.
Yeah, thanks. And I might add that, as because we started this conversation in the community some time ago. I remember, talking with community leaders almost 2 years ago, and it's not that there is less interest necessarily, but identifying the right partnerships and being able to communicate that the district is fully invested in moving this priority forward. The board, made that decision last year to include $1 million in the budget. I think community members wanted to know that was, that the school district just wasn't looking for donations to fund this kind of project. The Burkhart Athletic Complex is important. And I'm believing at this moment in time that there is going to be some good energy coming from a number of directions, and having this resolution before you this evening will really empower Athletic Director Lord working with other community partners to move forward on fundraising the gap. So what's the gap? Right now, in addition to the $1 million, about 100,000 of it's been spent on design work for the turf and engineering preparation. The gap is significant. It's north of $1.5 million that's still remaining to replace both the track or resurface the track and install the turf. There are promising relationships, no signed agreements, but promising relationships. One of them is with the Department of Defense and the National Guard as a possible contributor. Again, application's been made, but we want to open the doors for some formal partnerships and to allow Athletic Director Lord and myself to engage specifically in fundraising conversations, both with nonprofits, businesses, and some significant donors who've been communicating with us. So your action to consider, this nod directing that the administration move forward really empowers us to be officially acting, under the voice of the board to, in partnership, move this project forward. So glad to answer any other questions you've got. And Athletic Director Lord's here with me too. If it matches your desire, typically we present these kinds of resolutions and ask the board to take action on them, at the next meeting. Because the runway on this project, if we work backward from a June 2026 groundbreaking to install turf that would be ready by fall of 26, that fundraising needs to be wrapped up to match our $1 million ad or our match, our $1 million matching funds to the community contributions by October, if we're going to get into the queue for the kind of construction that would be necessary. So again, optimistic about relationships, possible donors, partnerships, and your consideration of this resolution opens the door for us to talk formally with folks.
I have a question. So what you're asking for is a partnership, an approval of a partnership with the National Guard, and to get to match community fundraising, or how do you want this motion?
Yeah, thank you, Director Eskridge. The resolution itself that's attached to the cover page is what we would ask the board to consider, and it really is a broader statement, just really authorizing Athletic Director Lord and myself to move forward with fundraising efforts in partnership with other community agencies and entities.
Okay, so there it is right there, authorizing administration to pursue the partnership and make improvements to the Burkhart Stadium. Okay, that's good. All right. I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead, Linda.
I would like a motion to approve. Okay, I want to say this right. Okay, administration to pursue the partnership to make improvements to the Burkhart Stadium Athletic Complex, including turf installation and track resurfacing. Will that cover it?
And maybe say the school board resolution number.
It's right under that school board resolution number, 2024-2025. Do you want me to read the resolution after we voted in, or whatever the vote's going to be?
Sure. Thank you, Linda. Okay, so it's been moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
if I may comment, I don't think I have any opposition to the motion, but I just want it to be clear, Tony, we're not talking about at this point the school district spending any more money than what you previously committed.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
In fact, our commitment with potential donors will be that until we've secured the funds to actually move this project forward, whether that's a nonprofit holding the funds or the funds have been contributed to the school district, we won't schedule construction unless we've received all the funds. So we're not going to underwrite this project, if that's the right word. We're really looking for partnerships, and I'm hopeful that they'll arrive.
Okay.
That's a long rambling way to say that I will not be coming back to the board asking for any additional dollars that I can see at this moment in time.
All right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Comments? Okay, hearing none. It's been moved and seconded, right? Okay, sorry, that part. Okay, Linda, do you want to go ahead and read it?
Okay. The school board resolution number 2024-2025.006, a resolution of the Malala River School District Board of Education authorizing the administration to pursue partnerships to make improvements to the Burkhart Stadium Athletic Complex, including turf installation and track resurfacing. Whereas the Malala River School District Board of Education, the board, recognizes the importance of high-quality athletic facilities for the students and the community. And whereas Burkhart Stadium Complex serves as a vital venue for school and community athletes, athletic events, physical education programs, extracurricular activities, and recreation for youth sports and community members. And whereas the board acknowledges that improvements to the Bergdorf Athletic Stadium Complex, including the installation of turf and resurfacing of the track, will directly support our goal to continuously maintain, improve, and upgrade all facilities and equipment to ensure safe, accessible, and engaging student environments. And whereas the board is committed to collaborate with community partners to expand students' experiences and provide a welcoming environment for participation in students' education. And whereas the board views the Burkhart Stadium Athletic Complex as a resource to be shared by youth sports and the larger community as the site for graduation, competition, and health development, it is fitting that we partner with nonprofit organization, business enterprises, community or government organizations, and other stakeholders to secure funding and resources for these necessary improvements. And whereas the board seeks to maximize financial responsibility and leverage the $1 million investment of matching funds from the school district to engage external funding sources and secure grants, sponsorships, private contributions, and donated materials and labor. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Malala Middle School District Board of Education authorizes improvements to the Burkhart Athletic Stadium Complex, including installation of turf on Heckard Field and resurfacing the track. directs the superintendents or their designee to develop formal partnerships to secure funding and complete the project. 3, commits to oversee the project in compliance with the legal policies and financial regulations adopted and approved this day and month and year of Molalla River School Board of Education. Today is February 13th, 2025.
Thank you,
All right.
Linda. Appreciate reading that. Okay, now that that's been read, all in favor of approving, let me get this back in front of my eyes. The school board resolution number 2024-2025.006. All in favor, raise your right hand. Hang on just one second. I gotta get my screen back to where I need it. Okay, all in favor, motion passes.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Tony.
All right.
I like the wording on that resolution.
Very well worded. Yes. It covered everything.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's exciting. Moving on. We have elementary capacity study update. And Tony is going to present that to us.
Thank you. Chair McNeil and directors, Ron Stewart's here tonight as well in case there are questions that I can't answer. And I want to appreciate his leadership and experience in really structuring the way we proceeded. This was part of a board update or a board report at your last meeting, I believe, where we talked about the work that was happening. I want to give a shout out to Lori Nelzine to the enrollment projection study that we've engaged a firm to assist us with. Lori has, for days and days and days, been touching every student's data in our student information system, not just for all 12 grades this year, but am I right, Lori, that you've gone back 7 years to affirm that we have the accurate addresses and the accurate neighborhood schools for every student in our district and touched every student record. So I really appreciate that. Bad data in, bad data out. And I'm really feeling good about the data that's going into this.
Thank you, Lori.
All the way back to 1819. So
I think was the school district operating in 1819? And as we shared last time, we're looking at 4 specific possible scenarios. The administration's evaluation of those, including estimated costs of each of those 4 scenarios and the considerations of the pros and cons as we've identified them, are on that attached spreadsheet. What we don't want to do is bring a recommendation, though, without engaging stakeholders. So as you see in the report, we're looking over the next month to bring parent and staff members to an advisory to review these data, make any additional modifications to the considerations, and bring a recommendation to my office on how we proceed. Keeping in mind that the target is to proceed with some solution to the projected overcrowding at the elementary level by fall of 26, and that there would be, after that initial look at the committee's recommendation, I would take those data both to the board and the public over a series of several meetings to allow public comment before we ever brought a final recommendation. And I see Ron Stewart is with us too, and I'm sure if there's anything I've missed, he can help fill in the blanks.
You got any blanks to fill in?
No blanks to fill in. Great job.
Anybody have questions regarding this? No? I think everybody's in agreement that it's a good idea. We're getting close to.
Well, when are we going to be over crowded? When are we predicting it? Is it 2025? It's going to be the end of 2025? Because I'm seeing an awful lot of apartments here.
Yeah, really great question, Director Eskridge. One could argue that we are at maximum capacity today, especially at Ruraldale. I think as a school, we've maximized the footprint of that building. Molalla Elementary School too, but as enrollment continues to grow with the growth in town and expanded urban growth boundary that the city's projecting in the near future too, that we're only going to have more and more children. And frankly, I think it's because Malala is a great place to raise kids.
Yeah, it is.
So
Go ahead, Neil.
Yeah, Tony and Ron, I guess I have another question. And within your experiences of actually doing something about the problem, even if we wanted to put, say, some mobile units, temporary classrooms or whatever into place, what kind of typical time frame from the time you decide, yes, this is our solution and it's time to commit to doing that, does it actually take to get that done? Typically.
I'm going to look to Ron. I would say that, again, his experience, we've already engaged outside parties to begin to be helping us plan if that is the route that we end up going. But Ron, please jump on in there.
Yeah, almost 1 year to finish the planning, permitting, bidding, and installation. And so that's why the process hopefully will wrap up in June of 25 for a summer of 26 installation, if we go that route.
Okay.
And same thing with boundary changes. That takes a long time too.
Yeah.
And if I heard myself say for a solution to be in place by fall of 25, I'm hearing again Ron's reminder that we're talking fall of 26. So we're a year and a half away from that solution, but having a year runway makes perfect sense.
Just one more comment related to that, and that's probably needs to happen simultaneously as a effort to deal with the condemned building sitting in probably the most opportune spot to place any classrooms at Ruraldale, would be to remove that condemned building that's probably rat infested and everything else at this point. So anyway, just putting that on the radar, something the board's going to have to deal with. So.
Yeah, and Neil's reference to the white building, I think what's affectionately referred to as the white building is part of what we're considering and among all the variables in play here.
I have a question just came to mind. If we had to build a new elementary school, I don't think anybody'd be up for that, would they? Where would you put a new elementary school if that was the case? I mean, do we have property that a new elementary school could sit on?
Yeah, at this time, our long-range facility plan does not include construction of a new elementary school. So using our current facilities, we do have open space in a couple of our schools, which is, again, part of why what we're looking at might be one of those scenarios that included a possible boundary change. But is that a long-term plan or a short-term plan? Are modulars in the mix? I think that we've got some other things we can do before we start looking at any need for a new building.
Yeah. Okay. Trailer space then. Okay.
So right. So really just presented as an information item tonight. Not asking for any action or direction, but want to make sure the board and the public's aware of the analysis that's underway.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't realize that I was on mute. Okay, so thank you, Ron. Thank you, Tony. And then next up, we have superintendent's report.
Oh, wow. We're all the way
Yeah.
to the place in the agenda. And a couple things to share, directors. Want to go back to, Andy, Director Campbell's comments earlier about our conservative financial approach. I've in a previous life, in a previous district, I'd had gone through that reduction in force process, and sometimes things sneak up on districts, but I'm really proud of the stewardship that the board and the administration's had in taking a look at really the long game and not spending down all the way to the that minimum fund balance that we have applied as a district. We think long game, and so we aren't in a position to be laying off. If we do look to save any dollars before we get to that 2027 mark that Mr. Campbell spoke about, we're looking at this moment in time at as he said, right, trimming here, possibly through some attrition, but we're not looking at any layoff, and I'm pleased by that. We did cancel school tomorrow. It's one of those things where erring on the side of caution is always, a right place to land. But this has been an unusual season so far. So as I made that decision today, we also have a consideration around athletics that I just want to inform the board of. Our swim team, together with 5 other high schools west of the mountains, are scheduled to travel to Madras this weekend for our district competition. I'm understanding that if we don't have our athletes there and they don't compete, that they're automatically ineligible for any state competition. And from where I sit, I really appreciate, again, Athletic Director Lord's support, communicating with me, communicating with the other 5 districts. At this moment in time, we're cautiously optimistic that weather will allow travel tomorrow. We have all the way until Saturday, to make a final decision. If push comes to, if we get all the way to the finish line on this and weather is standing in our way, I just want the board to know that I'll be reaching to the other 5 districts to lean on OSAA to back up the timeline, which is Saturday evening at 8, and move that to Monday evening at 8, because I don't want our athletes to be unfairly penalized by what feels like. You gotta have a deadline, but I think in this case we'd have seniors who were negatively impacted for reasons outside their control, and a 48-hour delay to that swim meet makes a lot of sense to me if we need to. Yeah. So I think I'll pause my comments there unless anyone is interested in joining me at the FFA State Convention. I was talking with Mackenzie Burrell, one of our ag teachers, the other day, and she reminded me that Lori's nephew's presidency of the FFA state office comes to an end at this convention here in just a few weeks, really, and he'll be handing the torch off. So he's done a great job, and it will be in Central Oregon in the Redmond Fairgrounds on, I think, Friday. I've got it in my calendar. So if you're interested in being there, or you're going to be in Central Oregon, let me know. We can go support kids.
Is it in February or is it in March?
I think it's in March. I'll look in my calendar here.
Okay.
I think it's March 20th and 21st.
Oh, okay.
You're correct. Yep, Lori's got it.
Awesome. Wow, can't believe it's been a year already. Crazy. Thank you, Tony. Okay, board comments. I'm gonna start at the top of my screen, which is you, Rob. Any board comments tonight?
Nothing much from me. Just thank you guys for all the notes and well wishes this last week while I was in the hospital. I appreciate that.
Glad to have you back. Terry? No comments. Mark, anything?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Tony and Tamara and Robin. I had a really good conversation about the school report card and the school improvement plans. I really appreciate them taking some time, and I think we had a really good conversation about what the administrative team is learning about the sprint and, the things to do different upcoming. So the request I have, Amy, for you and Craig, is I'd like to see our milestone dates published. So I know, for example, we should have here pretty soon what the new goals are for the rest of the school year. So I'd like a commitment as to when the board can see those. And then, perhaps and then get on the calendar of when we would expect the next district report card. But I think just in the spirit of sort of transforming our district into something that's more continuous improvement oriented, it's a change for people, and I appreciate it's a change. And I appreciate Tony, Tamara, and Robin spending some time with me this last week.
So when you say publish, you mean to the board, but also to the public as well?
Well, I was thinking mostly to the board. I do think we need to have a public report out, but for now, just in our school board calendar, on what date will we see the updated targets? I would expect those soon because we're getting into the later part of the school year.
Mm-hmm.
And then also get a commitment as to when we will see the next board report out, which I'm guessing will be in the June-July timeframe.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Amy.
Let me work on that. Thank you for joining that meeting. Sorry I missed it on Friday. Okay, Neil, anything from you?
No, not this evening. Thank you.
Okay, hope you feel better. Anything from you, Linda?
Just want to wish everybody happy Valentine's for tomorrow.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's it. I don't have anything else.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anything from you,
and
Craig?
I didn't know about Rob Cummings. I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were in the hospital again. So, yeah, my good wishes for you. Okay, I'm done.
Thank you.
Yeah, well wishes for Rob. Also, there was a tri-tip dinner that was part of Share the Love that was supposed to have been tonight at Clark's Grange, and I heard from my wife, who got an email about it, that it was rescheduled to Monday. So if any of y'all are thinking about maybe taking a trek up to the Clark's area on Monday, tri-tip and whatever else they have, my understanding is it goes from 4 to 7, and you can either come in and get a meal to go or come in and dine at the Grange to support Share the Love.
So where's the Grange? In Clark's?
It's in Clark's on Unger Road, just off of Beaver Creek Road. It's 19396 South Unger Road.
Okay, I'll look her up.
Thank
Yeah.
you. That sounds
Craig,
amazing.
text it to me. Just text me that information, Craig. Thanks. All right.
I just wanted to mention that I feel bad for the Share the Love, all the people putting it on, because I know these weather delays and cancellations, and I'm sure it's affecting some of the vendors as well. So hopefully there's some grace and some leniency, like rescheduling, that can happen to help them raise their funds that they need for these families.
Yeah.
And that's all I had. Just appreciate everybody, all the hard work that the administrators are doing and keeping up with everything and making the hard decisions. It's
Yeah.
not an easy job. So appreciate you guys. And I think that just need to go over upcoming meetings, which on the 25th, there's a policy committee meeting at 5:30 at the district office. February 27th, work session, 7 p.m. at the district office. And March 13th, business meeting, 7 p.m. at the district office. And that concludes our meeting.
Madam Chair, I move we adjourn.
Okay, moved
Second.
and seconded. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right.
It's
Motion
unanimous.
passes. Let's adjourn. Thank you,
All
guys.
right. Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
As well. Bye.
Bye. Okay.